Welcome to the Rum Revival. My name is Arminder, and today we're talking about rums for the fall season. Now, as the seasons and the weather changes, my drinking habits change as well. Almost instinctively, I grab certain types of rums over others depending on the time of year. And in the fall, I'm looking for rums that strike a balance between light and bright notes and richer and darker notes. I want something that's a little heftier on the palate, but not like full-blown intense. And this is the time of the year where I lean more in the direction of rums that emphasize baking spice notes like cinnamon, ginger, nutmeg, that kind of stuff. So here's a list of 5 bottles that I've been enjoying this fall season that I think are worth checking out. Now, first up on the list is Black Tot Finest Caribbean Rum. Now, this is a blend of rums from Guyana, Barbados, and Jamaica, bottled at 46.2% ABV. Now, this was designed to play in the space of Navy rum blends, and a lot of those blends tend to taste and feel heavy, oily, and syrupy, but what's great about Black Tot is that it's much more livelier while still having those savory and sweet notes that you expect from those rums. It starts off with notes of salted caramel, toffee, and coffee, and bitter chocolate, and you would think with notes like that this would totally be thick and treacly, and it hints at having like a heavy mouthfeel, but it's much lighter than you'd expect. Towards the back and the finish, you end up with these lovely notes of allspice and cinnamon, and a very zippy ginger note that really brightens up the whole experience. To me, this ends up being a perfect balance between high and low, bright and dark, and this is a really great transitional weather rum. Also, this black and orange really screams Halloween, or the San Francisco Giants. Next up on the list is Worthy Park Single Estate Reserve. This is an all pot still Jamaican rum bottled at 45% ABV. When it's the summer, I find myself gravitating towards Jamaican rums that are real juicy and drenched in overripe fruit and funk. But as the weather cools down, I find myself instead reaching for Jamaican rums that are a bit more balanced. Something that's not going to hit me over the head with aggressive funk. Something with some nuance to it that I can really dig into. And for me, when I'm looking for a Jamaican distillery that plays in that space, well, it's totally Worthy Park. With the Single Estate Reserve, the overripe fruit is toned down a bit, though there's still some banana and coconut. But what I like is that I also get some nutmeg and cinnamon, some tobacco and some leather. There's also some really great tannins there on the finish and a little bit of black pepper and a touch of that zippy ginger that I was also getting in the Black Tot. Now, for a Jamaican rum, this feels refined and elegant, but it still has tons of personality and just the right amount of funk for the fall. Next up is Rolling Fork Spirits' newest limited release, Amburana Odyssey. Now, Rolling Fork is an independent bottler out of Indiana, and they source rums from all over and often finish them in different casks before releasing them. Now, this is a blend of Foursquare rums from Barbados that have been aged between 9 and 11 years in ex-bourbon casks. And then the folks at Rolling Fork finish it in Amburana casks. Amburana is a Brazilian wood that imparts tons of like cinnamon and cedar notes. Now, this rum has this really strong cinnamon note, a lot of brown sugar, and like a vanilla buttery pie crust note. Honestly, it kind of tastes like a cinnamon roll with like a cola syrup finish. Now, if that remotely sounds good to you, then I think you're really gonna love this. So when you take a sip of this, it starts off kind of lush, but it finishes dry, and you find yourself going back for another sip. And the crazy thing is, this is bottled at 60.3% ABV, but it does not taste like that at all. Honestly, this is the rum you're gonna wanna drink after Thanksgiving dinner with your slice of pumpkin pie. That's absolutely what I'm gonna be doing. Now, there are only 840 bottles of this produced, so it's fairly limited. At the time of filming, Sealbox still had inventory on their site, and they seem to ship to most states in the country. I'll leave a link in the description to their page in case you're interested. Now, if you're watching this in the future and this is all sold out, I suspect we'll start seeing other Amburana finish rums in the future, if not from Rolling Fork, from other brands as well, so keep an eye out. When it comes to rums made from cane juice instead of molasses, during the summer, that's when I prefer to drink them unaged, often like in a tea punch, or I'll sip them straight with a lager. You know, I really want to taste the full bloom of the green, grassy, vegetal, and herbaceous notes. Now, as we get into the fall and the weather starts cooling down, that's when I start shifting to agricolds and other cane juice spirits that are just lightly aged. You still get the green grass notes of the cane, but now it's rounded out by some oak. For me, 12 to 18 months of aging is like the sweet spot. So with that in mind, my next recommendation is Neisson Eleve Sous Bois. Now, this is a rum agricole for Martinique that has been aged 18 months in very large new French oak casks, and it's bottled at 50% ABV. To me, this is one of the finest aged agricoles out there. I get a grassy, almost stone fruit note, a touch of musty soil and earth, and then from the French oak, I get this like light peppery wood note with hints of caramel and nutmeg. This is still a vibrant spirit, and that 18 months of aging just softens it up a bit. Also, this orange totally screams Halloween to me for some reason. This might be the closest we get to a rum that looks like candy corn. And the final rum on this list, and the other aged cane juice spirit that I'm enjoying this fall, is Saint Benevolence aged Clairin. Now, Clairins are cane juice spirits native to Haiti. This one is distilled from a mix of cane juice and cane syrup made from a blend of cane varietals grown near the village of Saint Michel de Acalay. The cane juice portion is wild fermented for 5 to 7 days, and the syrup portion is close fermented with a selected yeast. They're distilled separately in a handmade pot still and then aged 18 to 22 months in New American oak. Now, typically I prefer my Clairins unaged, and by prefer I mean I don't like aged Clairins. I feel like they strip all the personality out of the unaged distillate. However, what I love about this is that I get such unique and interesting notes both from the cane side of things and from the wood aging. From the cane, I'm getting this wonderful mix of tropical fruit like guava and mango blended with cane juice. These flavors are beautifully balanced by wood-derived notes of tamarind and clove. Now, if this was just mango and guava on its own, then this would definitely be more of a summer sipper, but the savory quality of the tamarind and clove really dry things out, making this much more of a rum I enjoy in the fall. Well, there you go. Those are some of the rums that I've been enjoying this fall. For the most part, these bottles are pretty available and worth checking out if you're looking for something to get you into the season. You know, I think seasonality is great because you end up going back to your bar cart or pantry and pulling out bottles that you haven't had in a while. It's something to look forward to every couple of months, and it becomes a bit of a tradition of drinking certain things during certain times of the year. I'd love to hear what you're drinking. Do you have a go-to rum for the fall? Let me know in the comments below. Thanks so much for watching. Catch you next time. Cheers.